Luca Nation. Episode 716 of Lucas Tigers and Bronze. Oh my. I'm excited for today's episode. Cage isn't going to like what I have to say. He's not going to like what I have to say. But I have a feeling he's been in an interesting mood all.
We'll just start
He's
over.
been in that mood where it's like, you know, when you're driving somewhere and you're already late and you run into every single red light all day long. That's the kind.
Pretty
Is
much.
that accurate?
I mean, yeah, and the car's overheating.
And the car's overheating. And your passenger seat driver is telling you where to go and giving you terrible directions.
And you know they're wrong, but it doesn't matter. You can't tell them they're wrong. 100%, dude. Oh, listen. What's fun about that is you have good days, you have bad days. The hobby's always here. And so
bad days are relative. Bad days are so relative, right? Because you realize I didn't usually that place in the first place.
Usually relatives cause you a bad day. That's a lot of what happens too sometimes. But
dude, at least you're not the idiot that invested in NFTs and crypto and lost 80%.
I mean, some would say now's the time to invest in NFTs. We've had some really smart people buying our NFT. So
that's actually true. I told a buddy about it. He's like, wait, so it's $70 to buy your NFT. You get 3 SGC grades per token and the cigar. Doesn't the SGC grading pay for itself?
$90 for the SGC. So you buy the thing, you get $20 off and the cigar night. Hell yeah. Listen, this is the thing. We're grifters.
Who said that to you? Who got in your head this morning?
No, not this morning. That was, remember,
you can't just give out your phone number to any Joe Schmo out there.
A lot of people have my phone number. A lot of people reach out, and I love every minute of it. I don't know if I can.
You become the hobby lawyer.
I don't know if I can help everybody, but yeah, I have gotten some interesting messages. I'll tell you that much.
The issue though is they need to put $1 in your pocket, and if they've never met you.
This is why I need Panini Digital to take off, because somebody can just send me $1 for like a Panini Digital. There you go. It's an easy way.
Wait, they could just send you ETH.
Yeah, that's true too.
Why do you need Panini Digital to take off?
I don't at all. I've been in their Discord. They had something happen today where allegedly some employees left the company a couple weeks ago, but they left knowing what the next challenge was. So a mysterious wallet was buying the challenge NFTs. I mean, you know what's funny is I'll let you take this wherever it goes, for the episode. But where my brain is today is this: bad actors in the space. The NFT thing, we used to try to talk about it blockchain's there. It's an easy way to prove authenticity. It's an easy way for no backsies, the whole deal. But it doesn't stop any of the bad action. As a matter of fact, you have to be on your toes, man. You have to be on your guard. People will swipe your ape. You know what I mean? People will take your shit. And what's funny about it is I've read about it. Maybe it's just because Twitter is so prevalent. I've read about more insider trading type of stuff. Like there was an announcement with CryptoPunks over the past weekend, and everybody bought into CryptoPunks in the 48 hours leading up to the announcement. It's So anyway, it's just where my brain is,
It's always happened, but now it's easier to catch because of the blockchain. That
is one time where I will call you a glass half full. You're not always a glass half full.
That's not a positive or negative. That's just the real. Because people steal shit all the time. It's not like people don't go and hotwire people's cars and steal cars. It's not like people don't steal diamonds and jewelry.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Bad actors everywhere.
I would just say when you stole a diamond out of a jewelry store, unless you got caught on camera, how would you be found? And how could you ever prove that diamond was the one at that store? Whereas with blockchain, you are able to trace it all the way back, even if it's used under pseudo anonymous name. You could have your checkmark name and then a hidden wallet, but you could still always trace it back. Remember when that whole thing with Tornado Cash happened? You could even using that trace it back. So all blockchain allows it to do is just trace back to the origin.
All right,
we lost every listener.
Every listener's gone now. Every listener's gone. But we don't really talk too much, and we were going to talk before, And I was like, oh, I'm gonna go for a walk. Let's record a little later. And I'm like, Andrew, we'll record it this time. And then I change it on him and I say, hey, let's record later. We'll go for a walk. And then I call him up and I say, hey, it's raining, so I can't go for a walk. Let's record now. And you're like, no, too late. Like you inspired me. You were going for a walk. I'm running now. So the whole schedule has been screwy. We haven't caught up. So we catch up about crypto. We catch up about NFTs. I gotta tell you, I'm excited for the National.
Good.
I'm excited for the National. That's where I am right now. That's where my headspace is right now.
All right. Well, I got a question.
You're
for
a
you.
little,
One question, one topic.
You don't.
One question, one topic for the day. So, despite what people think, new people are getting back into the hobby. So, a childhood friend of mine, same name as me, by the way, fun little fact, he's back into buying cards, Pokemon cards, Joe Montana, Jerry Rice, lower grade, and he bought in the PWCC auction this weekend. After listening to our episode, he bought a few Brady game use patch cards. And his issue, he won't stop pestering me about this. He's like, what are comps? Andrew, what are the true comps? What is this worth? It's not on Card Ladder. It's on 130 point. You have to go and you have to search out like what similar items sold for. Market movers is something else. It's something else. What is true comps? And I'll give you an example one further. I'm selling Whatnot every day. Today I sold a Gale Sayers auto, okay? That card is on Card Ladder. Card Ladder has that card at a $300 valuation, okay? But the last sale on eBay was $90. Today it sold for $88, okay? What is that card truly worth? How do you find comps?
Okay,
what do you say to the new generation?
Well, let's define some terms. Comps are not value, okay? Because everything is completely different. So if you want to know how much something's worth, comps are one data point that you can use to come up with what something's worth. If you want a definition for what's the value of something, it is what anyone's willing to pay at any given time for it. That's really the value. I mean, think about a house, right? The best way to value your home is to look at comps. Comps is short for comparables, right? In the market, it's stock is easy. One stock's the same. Comps for housing, which is where I've heard it before this recent hobby run of comps, is where I hear it. And it's a comp because it's comparable. It's same zip code, same style of house, same amount of bedrooms, same amount of bathrooms. But chances are houses are not cookie cutters. One may have a 1.5 car garage. One may have a 2 car garage. One may have a pool. One may not. One may have a full finished basement. One partial finished basement. One unfinished basement, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. That's why you come up with comps. Comps are a price or a value for something that you can compare yours to. Now in cards, you have basically both of those worlds. You have the stock market style and you also have the home style, right? The ones that don't come up for sale that often, that aren't as liquid and don't have the value, you have to look at what is a comparable, which would mean like if you're looking at a 90s Jordan insert that's numbered to 100 and, in a PSA 10, there's only 20 of them. There are other Jordan inserts from the 90s, numbers 100, that there are 10, 15, 20 of. If yours doesn't have a sale, you look for a sale of that other card as a comp. You can also look for other players of the same ilk, the same level, within the same set. You're looking for a value of a Frank Thomas 1993 Topps Finest refractor in a PSA 10, and one hasn't sold for a while. Well, look if in the last 6 months a Cal Ripken or a Greg Maddux or a Barry Bonds sold. And those are comps to your card. As far as the other side, the liquid side, the stock side, you're able to find what I don't think should be called a comp. That's more of a valuation or a prior sale, which is another data point.
You're using like a Herbert Prism PSA 10.
Yeah, Herbert Prism PSA 10.
Something that sells a few times a day.
You're gonna see plenty of sales on that. And the sales data extrapolated out over a week, 2 weeks, a month, whatever it is, averaged out, gives you a value of that card. Does that make any kind of sense? Look, that's an oversimplification. The difficulty is what you're dealing with, which is, hey, I bought a card for $90. Card Ladder says it's worth $300. What is it worth? And you found out today that yours was worth $88.
That was an example. Another example was, hey, I just bought this card on PWCC Weekly Auction. It's a game used patch card of Tom Brady from 2002. I haven't seen one for sale in 2 years.
Right.
What's it really worth? I got it for 184, but did I get a steal? Did I overpay? I'm new in the hobby. How do I know? Maybe because when you're new, it's your first purchase or first few. Maybe you're like, fuck, did I overpay?
Well, I mean, first of all, did you want it? Do you like it? Is it going to provide some value for you in your collection, some enjoyment out of it? You're going to be happy that you owned it. That's the first thing I would tell your friend, rather than just immediately saying, is this something that I bought for a price that I can sell for more? Because that's,
he didn't say that, but he's worried. He's like, Andrew, did I overpay for it? Because,
well, the answer is no, because if it hasn't come up for sale in years and he has the only one that came up for sale, he gets to set the price.
Interesting.
He gets to say, all right, well, if these don't come up for sale for a couple of years, well, I'm going to sell it for $350 now. And if another person wants it, then they have to pay his price, or it doesn't sell. That's what happens with like one of ones and really rare cards. If somebody wants it, they got to pay the person who owns the card's price. Now, a Tom Brady, if you're looking at how to value an 02 game used Tom Brady, you look for other 02 game used Tom Brady's in different sets. You look for some 03s and obviously value yours a little more.
Because that's an earlier jersey.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the way that I would do it. I mean, it's tough to do it as far as like, look for a Drew Brees or look for a Peyton Manning. You could do that also, but that's only going to get you part of the way. It'll give you a guesstimate. It'll give you an idea. Same set, same year for Manning. You would think Brady is going to be significantly more because it would be, Brady's second year, and it would be, the seventh year or whatever it is for Manning. So a jersey relic probably wouldn't be worth as much. But I listen, I feel your friend's pain, but
there's no pain. There's a question for our audience that I think you're an expert in.
I think what I would say though is that the data points and the ability to look things up and value your cards have come so far in the last couple of years. I'm sure they'll continue to go. I mean, there are all of these sales, and obviously you have better data for the more liquid items, the things that come up for sale more often. You have more data points. That's kind of the way it works,
I was surprised. This guy's pretty thorough that all of the options he went 130-point market movers, card ladder, and he still had that question. I would think I was like, dude, when I entered the hobby, I don't think even card ladder existed.
You know what I would tell you for someone who has just come into the hobby, whatever it is that they weren't able to find a value on, it's likely a smart buy. Yeah. Because it means it's not something that's available that often. That's scarcity. So, that doesn't mean that you should only be out there trying to make a portfolio of cards that aren't available value-wise. You know what I mean? And I will tell you, I mean, we've seen people buy cards and mention it to Card Ladder, and Card Ladder will add it. They'll add it to their database. So, if he wants to add his sale in, here you go, here's my sale. It's a Tom Brady, whatever it is. I got to tell you, the other end of your question is, even when there are data points, the data points are sometimes so far apart. Like you talked about alt. I mean, alt sales for the last couple of alt auctions have been, is it fair for me to say 70% on average of the alt, some
if they're lucky, some are 40 or 50.
So, is the valuation wrong? Is the value yesterday's price? See what I did there? I don't know the answer.
Cup of soda. Congrats to Bullpen LA opening a new location. Congrats to Texas Roadhouse opening a new location.
Kentucky.
No, but I think they opened a store in Texas though.
Okay, so now it's the Texas Roadhouse. Kentucky Roadhouse is in Texas. Jeez.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but
Bullpen LA stays Bullpen LA even though he's in New York. You don't call him Bullpen New York. But Kentucky Roadshow goes to Texas and you call him the Texas Roadshow. You see how that could be confusing to people.
I am barely bright enough to remember those two stores that were in those locations. I had to write them on my hand. So congrats to both of those guys and their teams. I know how hard they work. I'm just like, I don't know. I just feel
those
like
guys
the
are
hobby.
awesome. Both of those guys. I wish them all the luck in the world. I wish them nothing but success. Just real nice guys, real great guys for the hobby, real good hobby ambassadors. Don't give a shit about the market today, tomorrow, or in 6 months, or how it was 6 months ago. You know, they're both expanding with a real long-term view, which is what you need.
I think it's okay. We don't talk about this enough. Like, I think you could be a social or a serial. There's like a social entrepreneur, and what I mean
like
by
a serial
that,
killer.
Yeah, you could do that too, like Mr. Brooks. That movie was interesting, weird but interesting. Demi Moore, right? I think was the
a little Kevin Costner action.
Yeah. I think you could make a profit, but also be good for the hobby or good for any industry.
I mean, if no one makes a profit in the industry's not going to last too long.
Fair.
Somebody's got to make some money, right? Otherwise, it's not an industry worth having. No one's going to stay in it if everybody's losing money. But listen, I think, like I said, I wish those guys success. I wish everybody success. But let's talk about how, there are people, yes, everybody. Because whether we wish it or not, there will be people who fail. So here's the thing. There are people who come in with the exact opposite. There are people who come in with a plan of, I'm starting something that I'm looking to exit 12 to 18 months from now. And that's scary. Can I throw something out there?
High-end cards?
No, like businesses. Like I'm going to start a business, and I'm not really, looking to help. I'm looking to build up a business and sell the business. Let me throw something out there.
I've heard that before. We offered them a piece of our company. He said no. He started a podcast. He did 3 episodes, and he got tired and wanted to play golf.
That's not a business. That's a person. But so here you go. You ready? You ready for this? All right. I'm gonna go through something here. Trust me, it's gonna make sense. Okay. I went out for a walk with my wife yesterday, and we noticed more for sale signs in our neighborhood. Now, there were plenty of for sale signs during the last couple of years in what I would consider a bull market, right? But these for sale signs are on houses that we know the people who bought them, because we've been here in the same neighborhood now for 18 years. And we know almost everybody, as I'm sure surprises no one. Everybody knows Cage, right? So,
and if you didn't buy that LeBron, you could have bought all 6 of the houses.
No, so forget about the houses for a second. That's
okay.
not where I'm going. It's not where I'm going. Not about me. This is not about me at all. Just stay with me, okay? And the audience, stay with me too. Because I guarantee you get bing, little light bulb. You ready? Because it's what happened for me. And my wife said, hey, they've been there for like a year. They've been there for like 18 months. That house has been there for like a year and a couple of months.
Flippers.
So what's going on? And we had a conversation about it. And she was very smart. And she said that those people are probably over leveraged in their homes because the market, the way that it was the last couple of years, home prices have gone up a lot. And you were able to borrow money cheaply. 2%, 2.5%, 3%. And a lot of people took what's known as a variable interest mortgage, okay? Which meant that it could be something that if you didn't lock in, can change. If you do a home equity line of credit, it moves with the interest rate when the Fed moves the rate. And when the Fed moves the rate 75 basis points, it changes your loan a lot, especially when you're buying a $750,000 house. I don't live in a fancy neighborhood. But I'm using those numbers just as a little, a little example of, what a percent or 2 move in the market is. And keep in mind, this was a market where the mortgage was 3%, and now it's 6 and change, 6. That means your interest being charged on your home is double. And she said, I wonder if a lot of these people are looking to get out now after a little bit of a run up in price, and they can't really or don't want to pay the additional interest on these properties. And I thought back to my own situation when I bought my house in 2004. And remember, guys, hobby does this too. Okay, if we're talking about these things as asset classes, real estate, art, stocks, you name it, right? In 2004, I bought my house almost at the peak of insanity as far as lending. It was like another year or 18 months after. And I remember people gave me, a pre-qualified mortgage for $1 million. There's no friggin' way I could have ever afforded that. I couldn't even afford it now. But they were being liberal with the money, and they were saying, you know what? We'll lend you the money. Just come here and we'll give you the cash. Come on over and, you want some cash before the National? We got the cash. Hey, you want some cash before you buy your house? We'll give you a mortgage, no problem. And the rates were interesting, and the rates went up a little. And the rates were, again, at that point in time, 6%. And a lot of people were doing, variable loans, home equity line of credits to kind of, expand their borrowing capacity. And all of a sudden, when the home prices went down, people owed 125, 130% of the value of their house. And for a while there in 06, 07, 08, 09, people actually walked away from their mortgages. They were called underwater mortgages. If they sold their house, it wouldn't be enough to pay for what they owed. And they walked away. They said to the bank, it's yours. I'm not paying a mortgage anymore. Go right ahead. It's yours. And
so real quick, for idiots like me. So $750,000 house, 3% interest rate, you're paying $3,162.
So that's just your interest. You gotta.
No, that's your monthly payment. Monthly payment. $750,000 house, 3%.
3%. Okay.
$3,100.
You must be putting something down and all that other fun stuff, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Same $750,000 mortgage, 6% interest rate, $4,497. So almost $1,400 a month difference.
Right. So what amounts to approximately, $18,000 a year.
And you're saying basically. Not only is that $750,000 they bought at the top, that value of the house went down $100,000?
Yes, because the other people in the neighborhood, the comps that you're talking about, now when they try to borrow, someone who was able to afford a house and pay $3,000 a month, and it would have been a $700,000 house, that $3,000 a month is now only a $600,000 house. So people aren't able to borrow now because the monthly payment now is up from $3,000 to $4,500. You can't afford that bigger house.
From two sides, the interest has gone up, so they owe more per month.
And what people are able to afford in the neighborhood for a comparable house is coming down, so your home value is coming down at the same time. So what happens is
interest on an expensive house, even though your house is cheap.
You're paying interest on a home at the value that it was, and the value is coming down, and you probably overextended, and the amount that you thought you were going to be paying for the home value is now more because of variable. Now, guys, obviously, this is different in cards. I mean, there are people taking loans against their cards, and it's kind of what I was thinking about and stuff like that. But if you think about, I let in their businesses that have come in, and you see where I'm going. I guess what my thought on it is it's a very interesting thing because I'm drawing a comparison to people who are into cards in the last couple of years at the last couple of years' prices. And if the market does a little, what some people think it might do, is there less money for people to pay for cards? And if there's less money for people to pay for cards, does that bring the value of all these things down? And people are, borrowing money against these things. You got, liquid auctions giving you 80% for your value on your cards. And do we have too much leverage out there? Is there too much borrowing? What's your thought?
I just got off a call with someone where I was seeing how I haven't heard from him in a few weeks. And I called him. I said, "Oh, how you doing, man?" And I know this is someone who was in crypto heavy. And he was, not hurting. He's a successful businessman. But I think at any level, losing, I think maybe even at higher levels of success or like playing at higher levels, the million, I think it hurts to lose 80% of your investments. Crypto NFTs and he was like, well, the good news is I wasn't over leveraged, but the bad news, it still hurts. It still takes time to process that loss. Can I let people into you a little bit?
Sure.
You're a saver by nature.
Yeah.
And Julie too.
100%. Yeah.
My family's not savers. We are the type of family that we'll spend to like
You know what creates savers?
what?
The generation before you spending.
Yeah, I hate spending money.
So that's
Gambling was my vice, so I can't be like amazing. But like other than that, it's hilarious.
if the
But,
generation before you has no interest in money, and you are a kid who grows up in a house, and the only thing your parents ever fight about is money and where the money's going to come from to pay for something, and you feel guilty asking for the $73 for the AP test so that you can, believe it or not, save thousands of dollars in college credit costs, but you still feel like shit, that $73 is going to hurt. I'm not going to go ask for that. Let me go out and work. Yeah, you start to save. It changes your mindset. Yeah, 100%.
Why I say that is because I've never seen you more calm and tranquil than during this little time period where everything is kind of like dip it, and we're like that.
I sold almost everything I owned,
but even
and I colored up into quality assets. That's why. And
sure,
crypto.
But you're not over leveraged, and you also have savings, and you don't take money from your income, and you don't invest it into cards, so you're fine. And I guess like maybe I don't know, maybe there's a lesson there. I don't know.
You can take your shots. Remember, I mean, I took out a lot of crypto last year in actual cash. I cashed that out, but I left in some. And I said, okay, this is now, remember I say it a bunch of times, this is house money. Like, I'll take my gambles. I'll take my shots on some things. And a lot of them don't work out.
Do you think it's house money because you're not cutting your normal paychecks between the two parents to the bone? And you know that, like, your two paychecks, you don't live off of 100% of your two paychecks.
Correct.
I would say you're closer to 40, 50.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do realize most families in America, I know our family and our family friends, like I would say they're 80, 90 to the approaching 95, 98 sometimes.
Yeah, but it wasn't always like that. You have to be disciplined about it. I mean, you say it to me all the time, man. I mean, let's be honest, right? Most families, they're out playing tennis and they got nice new cars and they got nice phones and they got saunas and they got all kinds of stuff. And I've done 715 episodes on a cracked iPhone 8.
Why? Why the sauna? Why the sauna?
Well, I mean, sauna's not that expensive. It's only $1,500. But I'm making a point. The point
is
that
one would hurt.
Yeah, well, because it hits home. Because I know you probably have Russian family friends, and they wanted to install saunas in their house, and they didn't need them if they're living at 80% of their paycheck. But it's a mindset. And you know what, though? It doesn't mean that I'm right. Maybe I should spend more money. Maybe I should have finished my basement because my kids would have a nice, cooler place to play. And maybe I should get myself a nice new, iPhone 27 with 14 cameras on the back of it and whatever the hell.
I bet the audience doesn't even know this. They have one car for the two of them.
Yeah, one car for the whole family. Yeah.
Isn't it incredible? Yeah. My mom can't wait to get her new car every 3 years from the lease. And you guys, and it's interesting. Like, think about that. Most people work from home now. Mm-hmm. Do you really need 3 cars? Like,
no. And I have one car, and it'll be 3 years old in December, and I have 9,400 miles on it. So I barely even need the one. At least during the last 3 years,
I think we laugh, and this is a different conversation than like normal sports cards and stuff. But like, like that book, Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Bro, actually, my buddy, he comes from Rich Dad, or he's the poor dad that got rich. His dad was a firefighter, but they didn't spend anything.
Good.
To like almost an insane level. Like in the summer, they wouldn't use air conditioning, which I thought was crazy. They would come to our I think that's way too far. I do think that's They would come to our college house and turn off the AC. I said, bro.
Here's the deal, right? I spend money now, but there are decisions that I've made in the course of my life that allow me to spend money now and be comfortable. There are a lot of people I know who bought the kind of house that I bought when I bought it. And 5 years, 8 years into the mission, they went and bought a bigger house. Now, 8 years into the mission, I refinanced my 30-year loan into a 15-year loan at half the interest and cut 8 years of payments off of my mortgage for the exact same monthly payment. Now, could I have bought myself a bigger house? Sure. But instead, I'll have no mortgage in 3 years, and they'll still have 18 years on theirs. So that's the difference, you know. I mean, there are, you know, could I be in a bigger house? Could I have 14 cars? Could I have a Rolex? Sure, but you know, when you don't do that, you can sleep well when there's a potential economic storm front coming. You know,
culturally, we've stopped talking about the concept of saving. Because when I was raised by my grandparents and my mom was 19 when she had me, so they were still having a lot of fun, and I was raised by an older generation, and the older generation that was raised during World War II, they were savers.
Mm-hmm.
They were savers. Like, they would save bread, they would save food. Because you know they came from a lack thereof. So they were savers. Do you feel like we don't talk about saving enough in today's culture?
Well, yeah. I'll tell you yes, but only because the last couple of years, especially while we're talking, saving is a joke. You walk into a bank and say, hey, I want to open a savings account, and they'll tell you, okay, we'll give you 0.01%. We will literally give you 1 penny for every $1,000 you have on account. That's the savings.
Do you need to earn money on savings for it to be savings? The savings,
yes, especially with inflation. You know what I mean? Yeah, but you still have – especially in the last couple of years, man, what happens on it is – everybody's taking their money and making money with it. So you're like, money in a savings account is a waste.
I know, but I sort of have felt that whole, and we said it, and I'm like catching myself on, was the biggest lie, because they're like inflation.
Right now.
Inflation. Yeah. And it was like, go spend, go invest, go put your money. But now Bitcoin is down like 60%. I would have just been better losing 8%.
Well, it's funny, right? Because I do hold a piece of my portfolio in cash. Definitely in cash, like significant amount in cash. And I was, I always like, hey, should I do this? Should I not? And, the thought is, why keep it in cash? If you keep it in cash and inflation's 8%, then you're basically losing 8% every year. But had I taken it out and put it into anything else, I would have lost more than that 8%. If it was in Bitcoin, I would have lost up 50%. If it was in the stock market, I would have lost 30%, if it was in whatever it is. So, yeah, I know what you're saying. Sometimes leaving it in the mattress is actually the best of... But, I mean, I have some gold.
Who did we laugh
Gold's
at?
done well. Who did we laugh at? A lot of people.
Warren Buffett, right?
Yeah, Buffett.
We're like, Warren Buffett, him and Munger, Bitcoin. The guy, I mean, he has to know what he's doing, right? And he, as of March 3rd, March 30th is holding $144 billion in cash.
Well, what he would tell you if he was able to speak, because he's basically Weekend at Bernie's. No, but what he would tell you,
he's actually in good shape, dude.
Yeah,
and he's on your diet.
It's all the Coke. It's all the Coca-Cola. He's preserved.
No, I mean, childhood home.
Honestly, what he would tell you is having cash, having that dry powder now, when everybody else is going to freak out. You'll see he'll make a splash. He'll either buy an entire company.
Lucas Tigers and Bronze?
No, we're not for sale. He doesn't have enough money for us. Come on, we've rebuffed in the last year. We've rebuffed quite a few suitors. So Warren Buffett could come in. I'll tell him to F off. He don't have enough money. Plus, where the hell is Omaha anyway? I mean, Omaha. He's the Oracle of Omaha. I mean, nobody even cared about Omaha until Peyton Manning made it famous. So he is but the point, I think, is that it's good to have that dry powder, because there will be bargains in the stock market. There will be bargains in the world of businesses, and you can apply that to the card market too. We've had enough people say that. I mean, and savings. You know what I would love for you to do? I mean, card ladder is a great way to do it. Can you do me a favor? Do you have the ability to do, if I ask you to pull something up? Pull up what's like a low-ish grade. How about a PSA 3 1952 Topps mantle? Right, pull up like a 5-year chart on that. Okay, now I'm not talking about a $5 million PSA 9 or a 7-figure PSA 8 or one of these high ones. I'm talking about an attainable, especially
a lot of people would
if you go back a couple of years. So that's an interesting spike, which is insane. It must just be one weird card.
It's one sale.
But if you take that one sale out and look at it over a bunch of years here, this is a pretty nice chart. It's a pretty slow and steady. But here's what's funny. Go back 3 years. I mean, what are you looking at there? How much was a PSA?
Well, 3? I want to find out who bought it, because we're doing this thing in the hobby, laughing at people who bought stupid shit. This 3/17/2021 gets a laugh.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if is that real? Does that say where it is? $162,000 for a 3? That's kind of silly.
It's kind of silly.
But go back. I mean, you can look the chart. Go back to I don't know, 2019. I mean, not that far back, 3 years. What was this thing?
So let me see. It's
25,000, 21,000. 2019, 20 grand, basically, a little on 20 grand, and you can get yourself a PSA 3. And attainable, right? And what is it at now?
51.
50. Okay, so in 3 years, 2.5 times your money in an interesting time.
Cage, there was a sale May 21st for 73, and then there was another sale May 22nd for 51.
How about PSA 1?
How about SGC 1, Dick?
You can do SGC 1 if you want, but PSA 1, I remember it was $10,000. The entry point of it was $10,000 when, if you wanted to get one of these. I remember that in 2019. The point here, guys, and why I bring up the mantle is because look at the chart on this.
2019 was
11 grand, 10 grand, exactly.
6,000 in mid 2019, 10,000 in 2020, beginning of 2020.
And it's still 27, 25, wherever it is right now. This is a chart, even though that's a heck of a run-up. It's the same kind of thing. PSA 1 went from 10 to 27, right? PSA 3 went from 20 to 50. I mean, you're talking about a 2.5 multiplier in this time. Could it come down in the next 6 months? 100%. Is it more likely than not that this over time, if you're holding it for a longer amount of time, is something where it's a good investment? When you said, hey, we're not saving enough. You know what's funny? The first thing I thought of was, I think I'm going to buy another Mickey Mantle because I don't like savings account. I don't like savings. But I'm talking about like a PSA 1 or an SGC 1 or a PSA Authentic, like whichever the cheapest one to get into. Just grab another one because there you go. That's a savings account. So it doesn't necessarily mean, guys, sell your cards and put your money into a money market or put your money into a CD or savings bonds. I think there are places to put it in the hobby. Now, that's not going to get you a 10x this year.
This is who you want to buy, people. He smoked cigarettes, chewed gum, and he never sold a card for less than it was sold for previously. Always sell for profits, as Honus Wagner.
Yeah, he's a perfect man, right? Did I ever tell you that my grandmother had that up in her house? In the Poconos, she had a little, it was like a poem called The Perfect Man. And I remember walking past it and seeing The Perfect Man. I'm like, what the hell is this, Grandma? What's The Perfect Man? Let me see if I can remember it. The Perfect Man, she says, there is a perfect man. He never does a thing that is not right. His wife, she knows just where he is morning, noon, and night. He's dead.
That was dark. I was looking at The Perfect Man, Honus Wagner.
Grandma had an interesting sense of humor. Maybe that's where I get it from.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one. No, I mean, listen, it's interesting stuff, and guys, look, we do this every day, and there's some days there are guests, and some days there's fun, and some days there's fluff, and I did tell you guys that I think Tampa Bay was going to win Game 3 of the series.
Yes,
I mean, I'm a hockey stud, man. I don't know what the hell it's all about, but I am a hockey stud. Wait till football where actually watch the games, bro. Wait till that happens and whatnot, right? So it'll be a lot of fun. We could talk about all this stuff, but look, obviously this is on not just Andrew's mind and my mind and his new friend who just came into the hobby, whose name is Snuffleupagus and may or may not actually exist. He may have just created him for this show. He might be real. His name might be Vladimir. I don't know.
I have friends named Vladimir.
He may like pelmeni.
Pavel. Dude, pelmeni are delicious. Pelmeni are absolutely no, but dude, I'm always trying to learn. Number one, I also try to separate fact from fiction, new knowledge from old wisdom. I try to sift through what's we think and believe to be true, what has stood the test of time and been true over generations. I really do try to kind of figure that out. And I just think in a time like this, in general, where there's like a changing of the guard in the hobby, plus a little bit of a down market, I think you have to zoom out that lens. Like, I think we're looking at things like this, but I think if we zoom out this lens, we'll realize, one, there's patterns to this. Two, the tried and true ways: save money, have cash flow, don't overextend yourself, live below your means. Like, these things are cliches, but they've stood the test of time. That's why they're probably so profound. So I kind of want to urge people to get back to the basics. You know, Kobe, I'll use a basketball example, and Jordan. I mean, people would like come and watch their practices and they'd be surprised. Why is he working on a pivot for 30, 40 minutes? You know, why is he working on one fundamental shot for 30, 40 minutes? And he was asked once, and what he said was, the reason they're like, you're the greatest. Why are you working on that? And he's like, the reason I'm the greatest is because I'm never too good for the basics. And I think sometimes when things are so good and, you know, everyone's a voice of the hobby, we start to get away from the things that are tried and true and try to kind of reinvent the system. And I urge people in a time like this to get back to the basics.
I like that, by the way. I like what you're saying. Sometimes the thing that is the most obvious is the right play. And I know Andrew likes to talk about my contrarian plays. I sometimes have to stop for a minute and not be contrarian and realize that, you know, that works sometimes. It works when you know, a good asset is falling. You know, it works when the masses are going one way and I can go another. But sometimes the hobby masses you don't want to bet against. Sometimes, you know, when the people who have been here for a while are doing something, it's not always great to say, oh, wow, Jordan inserts are going to suck. You know what I mean? When everybody who has money and has been here for a while and will be here again is putting that money into those things. Perfect example of just kind of like, you know, running with it was, I mean, I didn't know Austin Matthews from a hole in the wall. You could pull the card up. You should sell that in the next thing. You know what just happened to Austin Matthews?
He won the Hart Trophy.
He won the MVP. Yeah, he won a lot of awards, but he's the NHL MVP, which is pretty awesome. And his young gun card was a play we gave, and it's worth a ton more than when we gave it. And that wasn't me, you know, doing anything contrarian. That was me an hour before the show saying, let me do some research. I haven't given a hockey play. And I think my Google search term was, who is the best up-and-coming young hockey star? And it was Austin Matthews. And I saw him wearing a weird outfit. He looked pretty fashionable, accepting his MVP award. Did you take a look, man?
Was he wearing jean shorts?
Sort of like Westbrook, like. So I mean, sometimes it's as easy as that, and the play is right. And here he is, you know, a year and a half later, cards are worth a ton more, and he's winning the MVP. That I don't think I gave anyone who knows hockey. I don't think I gave anything where they were like, "Wow, groundbreaking." You know, he just went real deep with this Austin Matthews play. It was literally like the Google answer of who's the best young up and coming hockey player. You know, and then I looked at his best card, and you know I did a little research, and that's the deal. I'm not a genius, but sometimes that's the easiest way, man. And especially when the market is doing this whole, you know, contracting thing, you know. That flight to quality we talk about, I have a feeling we're already seeing that, and we'll probably continue to see that.
Listen, this has been 40 minutes.
Capiche.
Just incredible stuff. But really what you guys got to see there was how the sausage is made. And all those people that are out there selling picks, I know I've seen stories out there selling picks. We just learned how we do it.
Google.
Use Google.
Use Google.
That's it. Who is the best player?
Forget about the sausage. Hey, the sausage. Clemenza. How's the sauce made? Did you learn how to make good sauce? Sunday gravy.
Always have to add a little sugar to the sauce and a little red wine. Always.
Cuts the acidity.
I like cooking, man. I don't know.
Learn that from The Godfather. Learn that from The Godfather. That's Clemenza's recipe.
Like you.
Put
I learned it from you.
I know, but that's where I learned it from. I learned from The Godfather. And you always got to keep stirring. Don't let the sauce stick. Keep stirring. That's Henry Hill. That's Goodfellas.
God rest his soul. Luca Nation, we're having so much fun. Dude, I don't know if you know how many SGC subs we're getting. So
a lot.
I have 100 cards right there that I'm subbing tomorrow, and we have cards coming in the mail. I have to go to the PO box tomorrow. So the SGC sub is on fire. whatnot, sales, consignment. We have memorabilia coming in. We have jerseys. We have autos. We have really cool stuff in addition to cards that are going to be auctioned off there. Everybody that's sending stuff to me, they know that it starts at $1, but we're slowly building an audience where, 50 people on average are kind of on the show at one time. So stuff is selling well. Some stuff is you're getting deals, lots of Jordan and stuff like that. Jordan always sells well. But just cool stuff, lots of fun. Cage is getting some inventory ready, so stay tuned. So SGC sub, Whatnot consignment. We're doing our Whatnot show for football starting in a few months. National, make sure to RSVP. Please email me. Don't DM me on Instagram. Email me. I am andrewgoldberg@gmail.com. RSVP. We have some good numbers already since we put out the announcement earlier today. We have 15 people who RSVP'd. Few plus ones. Nick Nanny's going to be there.
Your plus one better also own a Tiger.
Facts, right? This is I love it. There's no excuse not to, right? If when they were 0.06 ETH at 250, fine. But 0.06 ETH for $65, $70.
Listen, I expect a bunch of people to be buying Tigers at National and handing you 3 cards to grade for SGC. I say, here you go, Andrew. Fill up your backpack. For SGC, let's go. Why the hell wouldn't you?
I'm driving. I'm not flying. I'm driving because I have to bring a ton of cards. We're going to do some fun stuff with Whatnot at live and at the National. But, dude, definitely I expect to bring back a ton of cards.
Cool. I mean, listen, guys, that's the other thing, right? I mean, some people are not coming in Wednesday night, can't make cigar night, have no interest in smoking a cigar, which is fine. We get that, to each their own. If you're going to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you name it. Let us know what you want. Let us know what you want to see out of us here. Anybody want to go to? I don't know. We could do a lunch. We could do a dinner. We could do drinks. We could do whatever it is. We're going to be doing episodes. We could do a Coffee with Cage live from the National. You guys could be there and ask questions. It's going to be a lot of fun, man.
Audience would be kind of cool for you. I think you'd vibe off that. I wasn't at Mint, unfortunately, but from what I felt like that was your element. All dressed up in Jordans.
I am the fifth element. I had Kobe's too. You're funny. I had Kobe's too. I had a nice little pair of blue Kobe's, matched my shirt. I had a nice little pair of Jordans. But yeah, I mean, some people don't like the whole suit with the sneakers thing. I like it. Should I buy new sneakers for the National?
Yeah,
should I switch it up?
The classic ones.
Really? Not like the shattered glass with the orange? That's nice. Doesn't really match with anything, though, unless you're a Tiger.
In 60 seconds or less, explain to me why Shaq will never be invested.
Oh, dude, don't go down the Shaq road. Okay, I did this. Okay, I can't say never, right?
He was the most dominant player, maybe second to LeBron in this generation.
I'm going to tell you something. Shaq is what put basketball cards on the map. Shaq. Yes, Jordan was awesome, but Jordan alone was not enough. And anybody who's been in the hobby since the 80s will tell you the 86, 87 Fleer set with all those rookies, with all those guys, with Michael Jordan already playing his third-year card. So he was already – everybody knew who he was, right? 86, 87 Fleer. So it didn't matter. People didn't want it. You know when they wanted to collect basketball cards? They wanted to collect basketball cards in 1992 when Shaq came out and basically just took the whole world by storm and was breaking backboards. Now, yes, Jordan at the same time became Jordan. Right, he became the champ Jordan, and that helped. But Magic, nope. Bird, nope. Jordan by themselves, no. Shaq, I'm telling you, because I mean, I was a kid, and everybody wanted to go to the store and open up packs and get Shaquille O'Neal cards. Shaq he was the Zion, he was the Luka, he was he was the Herbert.
Yeah, but he actually dominated.
And yeah, but not immediately. I mean, he was great individually in Orlando, and I think it was his third or fourth year. Went to the finals, but lost to Houston. But yeah, in LA, the Diesel was a beast. But people don't appreciate the skills of a big man. Right now, we appreciate 3-point chuckers. We appreciate people who.
The 1993 Topps Refractor PSA 10 is a $7,000 card. Last sale sold for $8K.
Which one? There's 2 cards, so be careful. If it's the one with the bricks, that's the lesser of the 2.
I'm searching. This one is this the lesser of the two?
The one with the bricks. No, that's the good one. That's the better one. That's card number 3, I think.
Yep.
And Jordan was 1.
Look, I don't own that card. I'm not trying to make Shaq happen. I just watch PWCC weekly auctions, and I'm like, there's so many Shaq and Tim Duncan cards that are falling for less.
Duncan less so, but you know part of the problem with Shaq is the continuity of collection, right? Like, you know, there's a Topps Chrome LeBron. There's a Topps Chrome Steph.
Okay.
There's a Topps Chrome Kevin Durant. You know, there's a Topps Chrome Kobe even, right? Then go forward, Prism, you name it. Shaq, unfortunately, came out in the junk wax era, and nobody knows what card of his is the one to go after. You can't say, okay, go get his Chrome. And that's part of the reason why, you know, none of his cards are significantly rare. I happen to love that black Upper Deck, you know, the Upper Deck card number 1, where it's like 3 pictures of him dunking. I've owned a lot of those. I only have 1 left. It's not shiny.
Your criteria is as not shiny as it gets.
It's not shiny, but Beam Team, people love that. The Beam Team from Stadium Club, right? But that's not really a rookie. It's an insert card. So, you know, I mean, that's part of the reason. But I'm telling you, the other part of the reason is right now, big men are not in vogue. They are not collectible. You have the reigning 2-time MVP legit gets no hobby love at all. A center, Joker.
Oh yeah,
the dude has won the last 2 MVPs. No one gives a shit.
Do you think this has anything to do with it? Like, we always judge people on how much they've reached and exceeded their potential. And even though Shaq won 4 titles, we think he could have won 8.
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it. Not at all. That goes back to the whole like physical acumen versus.
But what about Vince Carter? Vince Carter fits in that category too. Vince Carter was so popular, but he underachieved.
Vince was an athlete and popular.
He could have been more. He could have been a winner. He never won shit.
I mean, he never did anything. I don't even put him anywhere. He's exciting. I don't put him anywhere even close to Shaq. Shaq changed the sport. Like, people had to basically the first minute of the game foul him. You know what I mean? Like, they hack a Shaq was created by opposing coaches, like a shift to say, all right, if he gets the ball in the paint, he's dunking it on us. So you might as well just foul him before he gets a shot up and make him take free throws. But that is crazy. But that's what happened.
And 20 and like 3 blocks a game in the NBA Finals.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, just under 40, and I think his rebounds were like 16, and steals and blocks. He filled the stat sheet. But dude, has anybody in today's game had a quadruple double? That'd be pretty friggin' nuts, right? You know, Olajuwon used to do that. Duncan.
Really?
Yeah, Olajuwon. Yeah. 10 blocks.
I'm going to give this card away to someone. Maybe I'll do the whatnot giveaway with this guy. I kind of like it. I'm getting so emotionally attached to some of these cards. I don't want to sell them. Don't get high on your own supply.
I loved the centers, and so did the hobby. But trust me, Panini is not going to make a Tower of Power insert set around Robert Parrish and Kevin Willis. But that's what Fleer did. An entire insert set because Shaq was the chase. Alonzo Mourning was the chase. Fleer rejectors from Fleer Ultra. Rejectors, like blocking the ball. Imagine pulling a chase card that's Robert Williams, making a block. That's cool and all, but no one's chasing that shit. They chase Shaq. They chase Mourning. Like, if you got anyone else in the Ultra Rejector, you were pissed. I'm telling you, look it up. 1993 Fleer Ultra Rejector. It's cool. It's Shaq with the ball. It's like exploding, kaboom style. Yeah, blocking. See? Look at that card.
Yeah,
it's pretty tiny.
All these photos from, like, there you go.
There you go. Look, with the ball. See, it's got the ball like a kaboom around the ball, like a comic.
Like a
Ultra Rejector.
Oh, like a kaboom around the ball. Cage, chances Panini in this percentage that Panini, in the way that we know them right now, exists in 5 years.
0. I don't think anybody exists the way we know them right now.
Pussy.
But Panini, look, I don't think they're going to be bought by fanatics. I don't think fanatics.
What's there to buy, right?
I don't think they need to. You know what I mean? I don't think they need to. is there value in carrying forward some of these brands like National Treasures and that kind of stuff? Sure. But I think there's probably more value in bringing back Topps Chrome, expanding maybe a Topps Dynasty, which is a hit for F1 and baseball and stuff. And, I think, that they're, they have all they need. Panini, I'd like to say they have, the ability to maybe move forward on some digital.
Have you ever heard of the poison pill defense?
Of course.
It's
From when you put something inside your actual company bylaws so that when somebody tries to take you over, the poison pill defense is enacted and you make it impossible for them to do it. It's whether it's a reverse stock split so that that person cannot accumulate enough stock to actually take over in a hostile way, or it creates extra board members so that they can't actually take enough board seats. There's a million different versions of the poison pill. But yeah, a poison pill defense. I learned about it in federal securities regulations.
Right, because lawyers do this a lot. But what's the move by companies that makes them, when they know that there's people that are trying to buy them out, they kind of make themselves look less valuable to detract buyers?
Yeah. Usually what they do is they take all their cash offhand and build up debt.
So that no one buys out. Do you think that Panini could be doing that with their moves recently?
Doubtful, because Panini is not a publicly traded company. They're a private entity. So someone could offer them any amount of money and they could just turn it down because it's like a family-run company. So if they're making moves to lose money, it's because they're not being artful with their moves, not because they're trying to enact a poison pill or make themselves look less desirable from a takeover standpoint. So,
and I don't ask because any specific thing that they've done recently. I'm just curious, trying to understand the market, and we're having kind of like a brainstorm call. So I figured I'd bring some things that I've been thinking about up.
Yeah, man. Listen, I want Panini to succeed. I want them to be here in 5 years. I want them. I mean, look, as we know, right now they are the only standing competition to what Fanatics will bring in a couple of years. So if
they don't have any licenses.
They have wrestling license, right? And they have UFC license, and they have the ability to make unlicensed products in brands that previously were licensed. It's one thing to bring National Treasures baseball when it's never been licensed, but they can make a National Treasures and a Prism basketball going forward. And I wonder whether or not people will care about that, even if it's not licensed. Remember, people are buying to a certain extent, but people are now buying not used in any specific event, not used in any specific whatever it is, and selling them for whatever the hell it is. It'll get to a point where I'm with you, man. It's not something I'm going to want to have, but as a consumer, I want it to be there and be a viable alternative. Otherwise, Fanatics is a monopoly, right? They can do whatever they want because there's nobody there to check them, right?
Jamar Chase Silver Prism out of 199.
Yes, but
Joe DiMaggio, real quick, Baseball Heroes with a patch. So let me read you. Congratulations. You have received the Joe DiMaggio Game Used Baseball card. On the front of this card is a piece of memorabilia that has been certified to us as having been used in an official Major League Baseball game. We hope you enjoy this piece of MLB history as we continue to keep you as close as you can get.
That's awesome.
Jamar Chase. The enclosed authentic memorabilia is not from any specific game or event.
Yeah. You know what they stopped with that? Patch swapping.
What? What kind of swaps?
Patch swaps. They're not. You're not going to go and swap the. You're not going to swap that patch out. What are you going to put in?
I'm going to use it as a net.
Hey, you could use it. Blow your nose. Yeah, I mean, listen. What?
Can I be fair though? Right next to it, I have a game used Shaq sensational patch, which I think is actually incredibly cool. So this one is the enclosed game worn used is guaranteed by Panini America, and it's a 2-color patch from Orlando. You don't get these a lot in these like little sensational inserts.
What's the second color? White and white?
Black on the edge. You see it right there?
Oh, yeah. On the very edge. I see it. Yep.
Which is rare. It's usual, and it has like this is just a napkin. Lamim's words, not mine.
And he's right. Guys, this was a different one. Hope you stayed with us on this one, and we got some guests coming later in the week. And
word of the day is culpable, by the way. I still don't know what it means, but I'm going to look it up later.
Responsible. If you have culpability, you're to blame. It's blame, right? It's culpable conduct, right? So, remember when you called me that time when you were in Mexico and you said, and
I'm with two girls back in my room, and this wasn't my stuff. I didn't bring this. This isn't my bag.
None of it's mine. The police are here knocking on the door. Can you speak to them in Spanish? And I asked you whether or not, you had any culpability for the one girl that wasn't breathing.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
See what I just did? I just made you a murderer down in Mexico. And you were in Boca, so obviously you had no culpability. There was nothing.
Joke's on you. I've never had any girls over. Bye.
So thank you all for listening to another episode of Lucas, Tigers, and Bronzo My. I wanted to tell you about a new service that we have starting as of today, and I'm really, really excited to bring it to you guys. So as a part of our partnership with SGC, we got 50 free submissions every single month, and many of you have taken advantage of that. And it's amazing that we could have the opportunity to 650 episodes, 675 episodes in, to go ahead and give back to our community. As people were sending those cards in, they asked, can we send 5, 10, 20 more cards to you guys? We'll pay for it, but we wanted them graded with SGC. You guys know SGC is turning cards around in 13 to 14 business days, have incredible customer service, and their secondary market values are going up day after day after day. And that's exciting for the hobby and exciting for the grading landscape. So we didn't want to just rush into it. We wanted to do it right. And what we did was I relocated here to Boca Raton, Florida. I opened up a P.O. box maybe 5 minutes away from SGC, and I will be hand delivering and hand picking up the cards. So you don't have to worry about anyone else touching your cards. It will be me, and I will update you every step of the way. So here's how it's going to work. I'm going to personally pick up the cards from a P.O. box, prep them, new card saver, new penny sleeve, and deliver them to SGC every single Tuesday. Why Tuesday? Well, it lets the stragglers over the weekend come back through on Monday and gives me a day to prep, and it basically gives SGC the entire week to work on grading those cards. Once your cards pop, only then at the end of the process will you be paying for the service. It's $25 per card, simple as that, and the turnaround times have never been faster. We're hearing right now 13, 14, less than 20 business days. So there it is, 9170 Glades Road, number 135. Is the P.O. box in Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. 9170 Glades Road, number 135, Boca Raton, Florida, 33434. Of course, you could shoot me an email or shoot me a text anytime, and I'm always available. Many of you already have my email. It's iamandrewgoldberg@gmail.com, or my cell phone number, 215-519-9154. Reach out with any questions. I could walk you through the process. I've hopped on the call with quite a few of you, and I'm happy to do that. Love you, Luca Nation.